All right, so the last video we played a little bit around in procedural materials. We were trying to figure all this out. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can, let me bring up my pure reference, how we can best uh, add these blue lines across the texture. So a game engine, we can't necessarily, they used to have a plugin that would do it, but it's no longer there, or they haven't updated in a while, where you could just select this and export into Unity or Unreal, and it would bring the procedural material with it, and it would set it up inside of the shader graph inside of like Unity, for instance. For now, what I'd like to do is I'm just going to go ahead and just bake this out. And let's similar to what we did before. So I'm going to select my pod here and just hit Shift D here to duplicate it. And then I'm going to hit Escape. And you can see that this is pot 2. And then I'm just going to name this one pot and then low. And this is going to represent my high. So for my pot low here, what I want to do is I want to give that its own material. So I guess these are, I'm naming it a vase here. So I'm going to remove this on pot low, that vase. And if I hide this, you can see it still exists on my other pot here. And so if I bring this back, I'm going to hide my pot 2 here. I'm going to add a new material, and I'm just going to call this base, underscore color or something, just so we have that. And then under base color here, I'm going to select image texture. And then I'm going to click new, and then I'm going to just name this vase underscore color so that it matches the material name, and I'm going to hit new image. Now what I can do is under my pod here, I'll turn that back on and I'll turn this off. We could take a look at what this looks like without any lighting, right? So if I hit Z here and I go to rendered, you can see it's really dark. So if I go to bake this out, so if I select this, hold Control and select the one below it. And I know that this one is, you always want to go high to low. And so your high should be a dark orange. And I go up here to our baking options that we did before, which is under rendering. And we select cycles. And I go down to bake here. You're going to see a pretty interesting result, right? Let's make sure that we have, let's see, selected to active. My cage, I want to make this 0.01. And I'm going to hit bake. And I'll pause the video and just let that bake out. Now, what actually happened here is, I think, let's see, if I go to my pot here, I actually have the my normal selected, my bump here selected. I want to select my principal BDSF. I kind of missed that step. And then hold Control, and then select my low from here to there. And now I want to go and hit bake that out. And we'll see if that actually bakes out the color versus the normal map. Actually, I'm noticing, because I keep getting it where it's baking out the normal map on here, and pretty simple mistake. Actually, down here, when I select my low in these bake options, I have it set to normal map. So I want to select diffuse here, and then I'm going to select both of these from here to here. And let's see if we can try baking again from there. And yeah, there's our high. And we're going to need that normal anyway, but we'll have to rename that. Now what's going to happen too is it's going to bake in some of the lighting information, right, from the scene. So if I go to rendered again and I add a light in here, let's see. If I add a, let's see, a sun maybe, and you can see I get a little shadow there. Let me hit G to move this, and then Shift spacebar to select rotate. I rotate this a little bit. You can see I'm getting some lighting information. I could adjust the strength of that. What I want to do is I just want to get this color information from my high, which is here. So what I'm going to do is, again, my high pot and then my low, just kind of shift selecting both or Control, and I'm going to turn off direct and indirect under influence here. All right, let's go ahead and hit bake. Now, the thing is, you could actually, in your high here, just kind of showing this really quickly. Oh, sorry, yeah, make sure you select Control and not Shift. So this is high and this is low, and then hit bake. What we could do is an alternate method where we just, in our high, add a texture node and bake this out, but I like having two separate models, so I could look at the original and I could look at this one and sort of compare the quality of the bake, because I could always adjust the resolution. So I'm going to pause the video because it looks like it's taking a while. Another thing you could do actually before I pause it is there's a under sampling here in your scene. You can see there's max samples here. I actually turned it down to 10. The more samples you had, mine were like 1,000 or something. So now you could see if I hide my high pot here, here's just my low. And if I go to texture paint here, now you can see that this is, let's see if I could click this. Where is that at? Yeah, this turns my wireframe on and off. You can see here, now I've got that information baked in there like that. And if I want to, same thing as like we were doing before, is I can add an extra texture on my low here. And I can just, let's see, right click or shift A, and then I can add a texture. And I'm actually going, or an image texture. I'm going to right click on this, add this to my favorites too. And I'm going to hit Q and just add image texture here, and then wire that into the normal. And then click new here, and then just type base normal. And then make sure that this is selected here, new base normal. And then new image here. And with this base normal selected, I'm going to do the same as before, high to low, but on my baking section here, instead of doing just color, I'm going to do, instead of diffuse here, I'm going to go ahead and select normal and bake that out. And these are generally pretty quick. And, oh, it doesn't say it's active here. This to this, and then bake. No active and select image texture found on pot 02. Let's see. Here's this. Oh, I'm sorry. Control click pot 2 to pot low, not shift, and then bake. And that should allow you to bake out that normal. And generally, it's pretty quick for me when I'm baking out a normal. Actually, I take that back. That was a little bit longer than we were doing the baking of the window, but it could be the complexity of the model. But you could see here, here's my low, my pot low. Looks okay. You know, again, we don't have any, if I hit Z and I go to rendered with that light, you'll see that looks a little bit better. I'm actually going to right click and shade smooth this, but you can see the cracks there. And we're going to go to, again, Z, material preview, and then I'm going to make sure that top one is hidden, and I want to go to texture paint here. And you can see that's what our normal looks like on our model. And the same thing here with this vase normal. If I go to vase color, there we go. So how do I, let's see. And if you want to see it on your model, you want to make sure that let's go back to layout here. And then just make sure you're selecting your vertex color here, and then go back to texture paint. And let's see, vase color. There we go. Instead of vase normal, vase color here. So let me bring back my pure ref, and I'll do a really kind of sloppy job painting in that blue. Actually, I don't know if we need it, but I'll just show you. So it just happens to have a light blue color in here. What I can do is, for my brush, I can adjust the strength a little bit so that it feels a little bit more like, let's see. Are we painting in the face color here? What's going on here? Interesting that it didn't just paint right here. It's not updating. Why are you not updating, my friend? Let's see. Is it because this is not on? And interesting. Hopefully yours isn't doing the same thing. But you could also use these grid lines. See the wireframe here? I believe there's a way we can adjust the intensity of these edges. Yeah, there we go. And I could just kind of paint across this line here. As long as I stay somewhat in that same area, you know, and we'll say it like this, you can see that I can remember that, something like that. And, you know, you can, you know, again, practice or have fun painting. And there's other programs like Substance Painter and Designer, which hopefully we'll get a chance to go through in other classes. I just want to show you this quick way. Now this is a little bit too thick, so I'm going to go in here and see if there's an eraser. But I thought there was an eraser tool. It's got to be down here. Here we go, eraser. Select this eraser and just kind of clean that up. Let's undo that. I guess we would need layers, and let's see. This is a new texture, new mask. Let's see what's going on here. So I'm going to get Z material preview. Now, we don't have layers like, I think there is an add-on that you can get inside of Blender. So let's go back to basic here, and let's just sort of paint out just something here so we have it. So let's move our brush. Let's see, what is this? Pixel art. It's kind of cool. Your logo, blur, paint hard. So I'm just going to go across the center here. And I just touch this up here. Let me hit Z here and go to material preview maybe. And yeah, it's kind of save all images. Here we go. Yeah, it's kind of being a little strange. Maybe we have to do a restart. I'm not sure why that's not. But we could always kind of fudge it here where I'm like painting on that up to that edge there. And then here, you can see now it'll match. Actually, I'm just trying to stay within this this little band here. Like if you follow this line all the way across, we're going all the way down here, you know, something like that. And then I'll just grab like a darker line. I know this is kind of sloppy, but just kind of showing you the values, something like this, and then we can get it lined up. That normal map is really kind of affecting this. Let's go back into our material here. We have the normal here, but it doesn't look like it's... Let's see. All right, that might be a little bit better. Can I just paint on here? Anyway, I think, yeah, I think that's good for now for this tutorial. Let's go ahead and save all of these textures out and bring them into Unreal. So here's our vase color, and I'm going to go to Image, Save, and then let's do Normal, and then I'm going to do Image, and then Save As. Actually, I believe we have a, let's go Desktop, Environment Atlas, let's see, Environment. We'll move them around inside of here, but let's save this. And then let's save this as well. Make sure that we're in that environment folder. Let's hit save. And then let's just jump over. And then what I'd like to do is export this guy out. So let's go to layout here. I know we're going a little long here. And I want to move this over. And I'm going to zero this out so we can export it. So let's go ahead and hit N here, and then I want to make sure this is 0, 0, 0. And actually, I don't like that. Let me go to my front view here. Let's pull this up here. And I'm going to do, so we have this little 3D cursor here, and I want my cursor to match it. So I'm going to go to Object, Set Origin. Let's see, Origin to 3D cursor, and that'll set that at the bottom. And this looks, it's all zeroed out and all 1, 1, 1. Now, if your 3D cursor, if I hold Shift and I left click or right click, my 3D cursor ends up here. I believe you can hit, what is it? Shift and then S, and then you can do cursor to world origin. And then with this selected, you can hit Shift S, and then you can do a, let's see, selection to cursor, I believe, and then that should move your pivot point. So let me see that one time. Let's see, set origin, geometry to origin, or let's do set origin, origin to geometry. And then I'm going to hit Shift S and then do, let's see if that does selection to cursor. No. Shift S. Yeah, I think you have to go up here to Object, Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor, because we just want it at the base there. So I'm going to do File, Export, FBX, and then I want to do a couple things here. So I'm going to go into that desktop, the environments folder shortcut, and then I want to name this as a vase, _01, because we have more than one vase. Selected objects, remember that should be on. Under path mode here, I want to go to copy, so that copies all the textures. I'm going to turn that on. So we have just that vase selected that we're going to export, and then I'm going to hit, it's called vase 01, I'm going to hit export FBX. Now let me pause the video. I'm going to fire up Unreal rather, and then I'm going to hook this all up. All right, here we are in Unreal, and you can see there's 3 changes waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import, and then, so this is our vase 01 FBX. Now for materials here, I want to hit import materials. That's what the whole copying out of Blender was about when we went to the top. Hopefully it brings them in. And then skeletal materials, really there's no point in that. There's no skeleton. Static mesh, that's fine, general. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import. And then it says this import will override texture 2D game environment, base color, base underscore. Do you want to convert this import to re-import? I'm going to hit yes because I didn't realize we had one. So let's see what happens. I'm going to hit import here. And then I believe it was just in the environment folder. Yeah, so here's the environment folder. And there's our vase. And there's our texture. I brought it all in together because we had that. If it didn't, you're going to have to go through the steps of recreating your own, like right-clicking, and that's from the video. Go, like we did with this one. So go back and watch that video because I don't want this to get too long. But if it does, if you still need help after going through it, I'm totally fine with meeting. So here we have our normal map just so you could see it. It looks pretty good. We might have to make some changes if it doesn't look good in Engine, but I'm going to grab this vase and drop it in, and I'm going to go ahead and hit F to focus on that. Now it looks like it's flipped, which is interesting. So actually, let's see if it's the material. So here's our material for this vase, and it really, wow, it really did a whole bunch of stuff here. I am so confused why it added all this junk. So I'm actually going to just kind of delete all this out of here. And then I'm just going to plug this into our base color. So I'm happy that we caught that. And let's apply and save that and see if that gets rid of the flipping. And no, it looks like our model is flipped. And then let's grab our normal map here and then wire that into here. And let's save that. Let's do save all. Let's jump back into Blender and let's fix this flipping business. Let's see where it's flipped inside out. All right, here I am in Blender. Let's take a look here and see if our model is flipped in here, which is kind of interesting. So if I click on this, I can go to face orientation. I could turn that on. And yes, it is most definitely flipped. So anything that's red, so if I open up that other, let's see if we bring back our base. Let's see. I think it's option, let me see. Alt H, I think, brings everything back. Yeah, and so that's inside of this house because it's at the 0 origin. But it looks like all of these vases are flipped inside out. So I'm just going to move this and then I'll zero it out. So I'm going to select all 3 of these and then just go to, let's see, object. I wonder if I have to be in edit mode to do this. Let's see, shade flat. Well, let's just, I guess, edit the way that we do. So this is our low. I'm going to hide these 2 for a moment because that's our pot low. And I'm going to hit tab. I'm going to go to edit mode, hit A to select all of it. And then now I know I can go to mesh and let's see, normals, and we want to flip those. And now you can see it's not red. So let's go back in here and select this guy. Let's make sure we go back to object mode, tab object mode. And then let's zero this out. And then let's look at re-exporting this. So file, export, FBX. And then here's my vase. Selected objects, copy. This is clicked on, all of this. And then I'm going to go ahead and overwrite that. And then I'm going to pause the video and jump back into Unreal. All right, so here I am in Unreal. I'm going to close this. Oh, shoot, it was prompting me. There we go. I'm going to hit import. It's prompting me to import. I'm going to hit OK. And there we go. It flipped it. And it doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's things that we can do, like we can hand paint in shadows. We could have did a better job on the texturing here. But for a quick example, we have this. And now I can hold Alt or Option, and I can drag this out. And now we've got 2 faces. All right, so I wanted to make a video, and I will eventually, on how to create cloth, just sort of so we can keep practicing this procedural texturing technique. But what I think I'm going to do is I want to show you how to create alphas and the leaves that come out at the top, and we'll do that in the next video.